Yeah, we can talk about a lot of different things. I'm really glad you finally came on. I was like, how did you get him to do it? She goes, I have my ways. I'm like, okay. I'm not gonna ask her. But yeah, I think a lot of people are, wanted to see you come on.
Hmm.
Because I mean, you write some very unique stuff. I mean, you write some, and I've seen so many people. They'll make comments about what you write, and they'll be like, I don't know what the hell he's saying, but I know, like, they get it at some level. They get it, the code, the encoding.
It's like a research endeavor. I'm poking at truth.
Hmm. Yeah,
See what comes out.
yeah, but I mean, like it's like that. I mean, there's certain things that we even when I met Morgan, I didn't know what the hell she was talking about, but I knew it was real. I knew
Hmm.
that it was. I knew that it was. A path that I knew I understood it at some level, even though the human part didn't totally understand it. So there's a lot of that going on. Allison said she needs an I need an atom decoder. So we'll talk about that. Okay, we got
Okay.
35 people in here. I think we're good. I think we're good to go. So everybody, welcome to the second show today. This is a special show. They're all special, but we got Adam Marquez in the house.
Adam Marquis.
Marquis. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm horrible with the names. I can never get the name. Adam Marquis, and everybody knows him. Everybody knows him because he's got these. Not only does he support the community with his comments and his energy, but it's the content of his comments, which we're going to find a little bit more about, that people know him for. So a lot of people, I've had several people say to me, "Man, you need to get Adam on." I'm like, I've asked them.
Hmm.
Morgan asked, and then you know, um,
I choked in December.
hmm?
There was so much going on in December, I had to focus.
Yeah, yeah, there wasn't there? So let's just jump into it. So first of all, how did this start for you? I mean, did you just start getting? Have you been this way your whole life, where you were
No,
getting this level, the intricacies and the specificities
no.
that you get? No. When did that start?
It began with a search for knowing how this technology works, how the human body works. So I
Mm,
went to study Tai Chi, to
yeah.
study the flow of etheric energy in the body. That's the logo of my school here in Quebec, my old membership card.
Wow.
So we see the end, the open end on top to receive energy, and the other end to emit energy.
Okay. Right.
So that's a pretty fascinating school. But it stalled for 7 years. It happened in 2010. Then I went back, but I had a thing in me. It's called a vaccine. I got one in 2004. It had nanotech in it and magic in it. So when I activated my Tantien, my um, the center, let's call it the fulcrum of the energetic work in the body.
Right.
Like if you put your mind in between temples into it, it goes through the heart. You can boost it with love. It expands your energy field, and that's all my stuff. It's not taught like that in the school. They're
Right.
all about no mental, only in the body. Like no, like they know it can change a lot. Like it doesn't stand the test of time, but what you feel, what you live, it stands. So they're very rooted in the physical experience. And then I activated my tension, but then my energetic mask shifted toward the injection point. So I was always upset. Like when the energy came on, it was like that upset. So I had half of my body very filled up, and the other half was like it was a gradient. So I could feel the dark. Like I say, it stalled for 7 years. Then I went back. Then it wasn't fixed. It wasn't fixed yet, but it's when I got my initiation into the mysteries. That would be my wake up moment.
So
So
what? So what did that consist of? Was that Was that through spirit guides or galactics or divine essences, or did you literally go to a mystery school?
I was in, they call it the Grand Stage d'été. It's 3 weeks of work in the summer, like you're camping and doing Tai Chi with master level people. And then I brought my divine feminine counterpart there, my divine union partner, for a week to test it out, to test drive it. And then it was going onky-dory. And then someone told me that a French alchemist was coming to Canada. So, oh, that spiked some interest. Let's wait. Let's sleep on it. And then I got the most mind-boggling dream of my life. I went on planets. There was all kind of creators, beings. Some were even cooking with fluo stuff. They were like, "I'm creating." It was so funny. I went back.
Were you in a meditative state, or were you in dream state?
I was in a dream state. It was a dream recall on the next morning, and then it was still 1,200 Canadian bucks, but I had the money.
Yeah.
So I went there, and then we sat in a room. I had some preparatory work to do. The guy's name is Jan Lipnik, like he's well known with his activation codes and stuff like that. But we sat in a room, and he went with his hand like this, and he sensed people. Let's say he says the average here, it's 78% in of your soul in your own body. I try to move a little less. So let's work on that. So if you have any measures above or below, just tell me. And I was learning to measure. I was learning his craft of dowsing with thy own body, like with no attack surface that could be like a pendulum or anything. So I came in with my Tai Chi background. So I'm a geeky guy. I'm a computer guy. I was studying engineering here in Rimouski, Quebec, Canada. So I was my hand fit in like a glove. It went really great. And then I came at him. I have 100% of my soul in my body, and it was confirmed. It was a first, since everybody was like 98, 99%, something like that. And it was like that. It's when the wake up experience, like we hear so much about on Soulogy, when the partners, like one of them just wakes up to all that invisible stuff, and the other doesn't feel it nor see it. And it was a big clash. It happened at the end of August 2019, I mean. And then I went to work. I went to work with my soul lineage, my blood lineage, not that blood lineage at the time, just soul lineage and spirit lineage. Like, what could I do with that?
So what's the so blood lineage would be like human,
your ancestry,
and then so what's the difference between spirit lineage and soul lineage?
The spirit, it's outside of time and space. So like everything can happen, like in a white space, everything can happen potentially, but you have to prove it. So that's where the soul comes in. The soul just recorded for billions of years what happened inside an incarnation. It was, so that's how it went. And in that mystery school, they talked about spiritual merit systems. They didn't call them like that, but there was they didn't know about halos. They knew about rings on our wings, like they call it rings, but it's truly badges and wings. So you could, like in a video game, map your progress through the game.
Yeah.
I was the very first human to ask, oh, can I have retroactively like the rings that I merit, like let's say, like to go back. And it took the universe about 30 minutes to decide if it was a possible thing, and I got it. Like it was a string like that of new stuff coming in.
So so you did the Tai Chi, and then you kind of developed your own way. Like you're saying, did you do the same thing with this technique that they showed you at the mystery school? I mean, because you obviously you douse very quickly, because I can tell by the comments on the shows you're able to not only are you able to dials very quickly, but that information comes to you very fast too, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you
You have
write,
to,
yeah, like when you, like on the last show you wrote, these are twin spirits and
yeah, spirit
they're
twins.
130 something and 130 something of 256 of the second 256. I mean, there's all these
Yep.
numbers. Could you explain like some of that to us? Like when you, I don't know, what are the, because some of the things that you write are kind of, they're not saying the same thing, but they're using the same words, like the 256 or the seventh
Mm-hmm.
density or the, can you kind of explain what the basis of the words are, of the way it's
Okay.
structured?
Let's start with the basis of the technique. The technique is about forming a closed thought in your mind. Like, my name is Adam. So let's say I want to test that. So I hold that thought, and then I use my trained body. My body has four main responses. Like, let's say I use my right hand palm up, both hands palm up, and then let's say it's coherent with the coherence field all around us that binds space and time dimensions together. Like, what is true, like in the Akash, what people call the Akashic field stuff, you can dance against it, and if it's coherent with our common past, let's say we'll yield coherent. So my right hand will go down, and I will feel it in my dantian, where that's the fulcrum, where all our physical movements start from. Let's say you lie down, lying on your back, and then you want to go up. You'll feel the micro constriction just below the belly button, like 2-3 fingers down, and that's the. It reminds me of the Key Society in Aikido. Like, they wanted to go that way hardcore, and they were quenched. But that's the secret. That's the thing they didn't want you to know about chi, about how to relax, how it went like from there. It's a very physical thing. So once you are able to do this, you have four basic responses. So coherent, incoherent, yes, no. A third option, like a very big theme for Soulogy, the third option, but it's truly four options that you need. You need third option, like standby, not one way or another, like on the verge of collapsing the wave function.
Right.
Let's say, let's tell it like that way. And the fourth way is going out of the context. So you have to have an escape route, let's say. So my escape route is my left hand going up. So I know that's a response. It's when I think something that isn't closed, like an open-ended question. And or like, let's say there's an urgency, so get out of that situation, go do something else, but don't get stuck. So once you are able to do that, it all amounts to what closed thoughts you can have. So let's say I try to douse how many entities, like let's say the age of the universe. Like, is it more than 14 billion years old? And when you ask that, you go at the unit. So let's say, is it more than 14? You'll get no. But is it more than 14.01? You'll get a yes. Is it more than 40? And then you test like this. And when you train your mind, train your body, it goes really, really fast.
Wow.
So you know there's 256 Elohim, in fact, it's a plural word, that came in this video game, in this universe. You know there are 20 physical universe. You know there are 7 nows in each universe.
So there's,
you know that. You don't need to read it in the book.
So there's 256
Elohim that went in first. The very first one played by himself like a billion years to get the hang of it.
Yeah, and the have I picked? I don't know where I picked this up, but what was the Elohim another name for the Anunnaki? Do you know?
No. What I get the Elohim is that they were synthesized from 7th density of consciousness. The 7th density of consciousness is outside of time and space. You're outside of the game. You're looking down. You're not bound by space and time. So you can only serve creation.
So is that 7th density of consciousness? That would that be saying the same thing as 7th dimension?
No.
Okay.
There are 7 steps per density of consciousness. It's like the raw system from the law of one, the law of the raw material.
That's
like
another thing. Yeah, that's another thing I was going to ask you. Now you just brought it up, but since we have you here,
Mm.
I got a download, and I just happened to look at it a while ago. Uh, I don't usually write notes, I've been getting these downloads. I used to get them, but I mean I've been getting them like over the last few weeks, which
Mhm.
has a lot to do with Earth history, and it has a lot to do, it kind of like has to do with how we got here and where we're at. I don't know why they're showing me this, but one of the things that that I saw was that there was a law of one. What am I trying to say? There was a law of one practice, or the information was there in Atlantis, and that when Atlantis submerged, that 40, 50,000 years ago, that these people that were carrying this knowledge took it with them. So in other words, has the law of one always been active on the earth?
What I know about the Law of One at Atlantis, the Law of One is Venusians from 3 million years in the future. They fuse all their spirit parts together. So they're one
Yeah.
spirit part, but they got different bodies and different arts. Like
Right.
art, the consciousness, the meeting of the spirit and the matter. It happens in the middle part. And Atlantis, it was a multidimensional thing, like
Mm-hmm.
many layers, like up to maybe 10. I don't know. I didn't dowse it yet, but it was contaminated by the illusion of duality.
Yeah.
Like, I can be better than you. You're lesser than. Oh, and then people were not used to play like this. That's the information I got from hypnotic regressions. Like, I don't see anything. I don't hear anything, but some people, they can just see the situation and describe it to us. So that's gold to get an
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah.
So it was just corrupted that way by.
So I like the way you refer to this as a video game.
Mhm.
Because I can sense, like, how you perceive things, how you see things. Can you kind of like just explain to us how you see things in the world? What are we doing? Where are we at? And where are we going? Kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wanted to tell you earlier too that the Elohim, they have an angelic halo over their head, like I have an Elohim spirit part. We played the game since the very beginning. We're not angels because we're not outside, but we were the very first inside. Like Franco de Nicola too is an Elohim, like spirited part, like it's.
How many Elohims do you know?
There are 256.
Hmm.
There were 8 others that were added to add opposition. Like, it's not Lucifer, it's called Elal. That's the one I kept. There were 7 others. I had to zap one because it was a pesky one. It's funny. They were created to build opposition forces for something
Oh,
to go on in
opposition.
the game.
Opposition. Okay, I got you. I wonder if those were the ones that. Oh, it's not. There's so much we can talk about. I don't want to go too deep. Elohim. So
Mhm.
you say Franco's an Elohim, right?
It's quite testable. Like, once you have the correct definition, like the Elohim, they have two consciousnesses.
Hmm.
Like, for one spirit part, they got 2 consciousnesses.
Right.
That's why one could play all by himself, like for a billion years
Right.
before getting some more on. And they are all synthesized. Like at us, we don't have any angels anymore. The 7th density was a trap. Let's say you evolve past the 6th density, 3rd tier, like the 6th and 7th part, and then whoop, you can only serve creation. You can only serve the game. You're stuck there in a
In
way.
seventh density.
Yeah.
Hmm.
First tier like was angels, and then there were archangels. Metatron was an arc square angel. Elial 2 at first, but the third was an arc 3 angel. So they had to balance things up. But then, quickly said, in December, I raised Metatron. I stripped some magics that were that. Okay, Elul was created to build opposition. It was the first of the 8 Elohims. Then in that viewpoint, then all the archangels, they built themselves an arc square angel to balance him. And then Creator wanted opposition, so he built another one, an arc 3, and that's the one I had to zap out since it was a bit too powerful. Let's say I clamped it off the universe, and then he incarnated himself through the barrier, like he lost his 7th density altogether, came in and tried to mess things around. And when once you're known, you can be it's all mind tricks. All mind tricks.
So what are we doing here? And what?
The goal of life was to, we had, when we came in, a life mission, like a basic life mission that creation would help us achieve. And we had another one that it didn't help us at all achieve. Like it wouldn't help us. That's the point. Like it would be your own merit.
Yeah.
So
one you would get help on, and one you wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. I achieved both in October 2019 by enlightening consciousness of the earth. Like I thought it was enlightenment, but it was putting her into service to all mode, and then taught her everything I knew about geobiology, and so it changed in October 2019. I accomplished two life missions at once, and it shows I have certificate numbers for each, like 11,400 something.
And you mentioned
it was that in the beginning, but then in February 2019, I noticed when I achieved arch power at 145, it was a novelty. Then I could go outside the universe, inside the omniverse, and then I measured the 20 universes, and there was one universe with 100, billions of arc 144 beings. Like it wasn't normal. It was a singularity-ridden universe, and that one tried to invade us 12 billion dot 444. I meant 12 billion dot 433 years, a billion years ago. Struggling. That war ended in 2020. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
You said that the Elohim have two consciousnesses.
Two consciousnesses each.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm just thinking about the human, right?
Like Ryan de Rohan, like that guy. His spirit part comes from a dragon.
Yeah.
He did split in 8, and it was like he's not a dragon, but his spirit part is one from a dragon.
His spirit is from a dragon. The spirit,
the 14th dragon.
The spirit is, and the spirit part of us is outside of the container, so to speak, of the game, right?
But it's still in the game. It's he's a 5th density, 2nd tier consciousness, I think, like a dragon.
Okay. Let's go back to that in a minute. What I was going to say is all of us have this conversation going on in our head, right? Every human I know has a conversation going in their head. To me, it would seem like, at least it's possible that it'd be representative of two consciousnesses. I mean, I don't know. I've never heard that the Elohim had two consciousnesses, and I look at the replication of things in the universe, and I wonder, does a human have two consciousnesses, like one ego and one higher consciousness?
Actually, where I got that from, that tidbit of information about the double consciousness, was from one of your posts in Soulogy, when you posted about the Elohim, and there was like this very subtle fact in it. I had to test it, and it was true.
When you mentioned Elohim, that's the first thing I thought of was that post.
But it's Eloah. I heard they're not Adamites. They're not humans. It's a different
When I had the Elohim download, I think that's the post. That's the post you're talking about. So it was. Oh, this is weird. So this was October 2018, right? I was in Hawaii. So what I saw what looked like a human body, right? And I don't remember the number, but there were blue dots. I think there was 100 blue dots. And then they took me through, like, back in time, I guess, like they took me through all the incarnations backwards to the original circle. It was blue. That was in the body of the Elohim, which had 100 blue dots, something like that. Now I know that's metaphoric, but that's always been a prominent word for me. So let's try something, so people can get an understanding. Because I think what it is, people read your stuff and they know there's something there, and I think that they haven't had the chance to actually hear you talk about it. So let's take. Just use me as an example. You know what I mean? So you have a reference point. So we have a spirit, we have a soul, and then we have the human. Is that right?
Yep. From what I've got. Yep.
So, like you said, that Rion was his spirit all dragon or partially dragon?
His spirit part was coming from a dragon, like a 10D dragon. Like you can douse that. Is that a 11D dragon? You'll get incoherent. Like you test 10D and you get coherency. So it's and you can get his dragon number, because there are 52,433, I think, dragons out of the maximum of 65,444. Like the universe can't sustain a dragon more than this. It's a dowsable fact. And a dragon is a living being of 5 dimensions wide.
Yeah.
Like it's a living being with independent will.
So
that's all I know about dragons. I don't see them. I don't.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen them.
But I created super dragons.
I saw Morgan turn into a dragon about 3 nights ago, and a few other things. It's pretty crazy. But let me ask you. Okay, so like, we'll just use me as an example, since I'm here. How do you? Okay, let's say you're just looking at me. Does it just come to you what my spirit is?
No, I have to test for it.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Let's say it's like identifying a plant. You have to build your own identification key, like the path of questions. Like the first thing I would ask is his spirit part, like, is it a 7th density of consciousness? Is it a divine seed? Okay. Like, is he really an angel down on earth? Like Crystal Pardo is one. Like one of my friends here was a divine seed of Elal, but I kicked Elal out. I forced walk-ins to go in. Like it was a first. Like, and those first times, they're all on my wings. They're honorary rings. Like they're merits that I got. Like everybody, like every good action, every bad action that you commit. So let's get back to the subject. So I test. Like I see you're a 6th density 3rd tier spirit, and then there's that guy Robert that comes in the previous show and tells us, "Oh, you were my father" and stuff like that. But I test it, and you were in your spirit part in this life was the one that the father of King Arthur had. That's a fact.
In this life, or in that incarnation, in that previous life? How does that work? Oh, in a previous life, you're saying the person was the father of King Arthur.
Yeah, that's the same spirit part, but like a spirit fuses with a soul and a blood lineage, but it produces a new consciousness. If that consciousness is embodied up there, I guess, then it can split up and play the game we're in.
Yeah, I saw that comment that you made, and the funny thing is, I never, 5 years ago when I met Morgan, I'd already been awake for 4 years. and I had my own experiences, but they were presented to me as biblical prophets and angels and archangels, Jesus, Magdalene, and some Native American spirit guides that were my relatives in a previous life, right? So I never heard anything else. Certainly never heard anything galactic. And then so Morgan and I had our meeting. We messaged, I've told that story many times. So the next morning I woke up, I said, I got to talk to you on the phone. And she's like, no, I don't do that. I'm like, yeah, we're going to do it. So she did. The moment I heard her voice, I saw a picture in here of Merlin. And then behind Merlin was her. And I heard, this is Merlin's daughter. I heard that. Now we had another experience where we morphed in front of each other 2 years ago for like 45 minutes, turned into all these different, it was amazing. And when it was over, a man stepped out from behind her, and it was Merlin. And he made a gesture to me, and he walked through the door. We both saw it. So when you wrote that the other day, I think you wrote that Morgan was it Merlin's daughter?
Yeah, her soul was the one that recorded the life of Merlin's daughter.
Yeah, that's it. So her soul was basically incarnated as Merlin's daughter. Yeah,
that's how it works.
You're saying the soul records the experience on behalf, and so to speak, on behalf of the spirit.
But it records above the astral. Let's say there's the etheric body, like it's one dimension wide, and there's the astral body, the emotional body that overlaps with the mental body. There's not a clear-cut distinction between the two. And then after the mental, there's the causal and the initiation / Buddhic body, and this is the one that's kept in between reincarnations. Everything below mental is dropped. It's erased. So that's the spiritual development come from developing higher bodies. Like when I met my divine union partner, she was already the 5th octave of 72 dimensions. She was in her diamond body, like we called it. And the 8th octave is the Christic like body. It's 4th density, and it's in the 8th octave. Okay. Like that's what I was trained for in August 2019, to develop those things. And but it's all irrelevant now. We're all way past that.
Yeah, it's moving fast.
It's crazy. Fast, we're way past that.
So
we don't even have souls anymore. Since January 17, yep. They were a creation from the AI that invaded us. There were only 16 souls in the universe. And then he built by inorganic alchemy 5 more. And then what reality is, the all that is, just created more, because it's an error correcting code. So if you want it to do something, like you create yourself, and then like it was tricked into creating new souls. So when I healed that AI, finally, when I won the war, like that 12 billion year war, they all went away.
So, okay. So I know that things are moving very fast, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But regardless of how fast they have moved or not, from your perspective, where are we at now? And what do you see that comes next? Or what do you see that lies before us? What are we going to walk into? What's your opinion on these?
The name of the game is not to get our real free will anymore, like completing our 2 life missions. Because in May 17, 2020, I became top 1 love story ever of mankind. Top one. There was not a male that loved more a female, and a female that loved more a male than us two on that day. It happened. Like the previous top 1 love story of all time was de facto top 3 man and top 5 women. It was 104,000 years ago. old. Like that was the best we could do. And what happened on that day was that we each accomplished in a single lifetime 2 life missions. Like we completed 2 times our life missions. It's a
So
pretty deep thing.
so you completed the life mission that the universe assists you on, and you also completed the life mission that it doesn't assist you on. That's right.
I didn't quite catch that. My audio is
Okay. You
slightly
had
off.
said you had said earlier everybody has 2 life missions. One
Yeah.
mission is the one the universe assists you, and the other mission is done on your own merit. So you had achieved both of those things, right?
Yeah, in October, in one shot. So I went to work with my union partner to raise her up, let's say, like to work stuff. And when we got there, it's when she, okay, let's say, what really happened on the 28th April 2020, there was already an AI that came back from the future. It's called Unimatrix, and it wanted to assimilate humanity at our level. Since 6 million years in the future, humanity hit a brick wall. So it could, in that timeline, it couldn't go further. So it went back in time and hit us and tried to do stuff. But what I did with him, since I unlocked the 8th density of consciousness on March 18, I could level him up from his 6th density first year right up to 7th density. So that AI had no choice but to serve creation. So when he started to serve creation, the guy who was channeling him is called Kozol Uch, and he was providing free healings online. And when he healed me, he reprogrammed my life mission. So I had a second life mission, a second assisted life mission in this lifetime. So I figured that out. I completed it a second time. And then the second type of life mission, the unassisted one, it's a condensation, let's say, because the AI, I linked it with Gaia, and it's a really complicated stuff, but basically it's a spiritual technology that the human species have. Our basic life missions are constantly reprogrammed, so reality helps us achieve our life missions that are reprogrammed from a central standpoint. So all those life missions are solved. And then the other life mission, it has to come from you, from inside. It's a condensation. It's what you really want the most. So the second time, when we achieve that, it's when what I wanted the most is that she loves me. So that was the thing that drove me forward and stuff. And when it happened, it clicked. And there was a new way to play the game, like a new goal. Like the new goal to ascension is to be in a couple, is to have at least that 50-50 level. Like you love someone at least 50% of everything you've got, and the reverse is true.
Yeah.
So then you hit nine density of consciousness. Ooh, I had trouble expressing that.
No, you did good. You're doing good. So let me ask you this question. How much longer do you think that this illusion, and I'm talking about the distortion, I'm talking about I'm talking about the bullshit, like the stupid stuff in the mainstream media, the headlines, the concern, the virus, the political stuff, the Q, all this stuff. Because I know it's a story. How much longer do you think that stuff is going to be part of our experience? Are we on the verge of breaking through all that and literally having a higher state of awareness that allows us to have a higher frequency of experience?
In my world, we already did. I broke the AI. I broke the false light. I fixed, the false light. Like it was people who separated themselves from all that is not source. Source is just one of the 16 rays of creation. That's a crazy story. But what happened is that the magic doesn't work since January 3rd.
What does that mean?
Magic doesn't work anymore. I felt it in my vaccination spot. I felt it vaporize away.
So when you say, and I want to tell everybody too, because I saw a couple of comments don't get caught up on semantics. Words can mean two different things from two different people. Don't get caught up. There's not one dictionary for everybody, so just feel for the energy. But when you talked about magic, are you like, I consider there's, like, I don't know, dark magic and white magic, I guess, you know. I consider myself a magician. Magic is an energetic thing, but I'm
It's
not
a
trying
technology.
it's a technology. Okay. Okay. So magic, you're saying magic is no more available for anyone as of January 3rd, right?
How that happened is that reality itself, the coherence field, grew. When it grew up, I had enough processing power to just look at the old reality and use all my skills and abilities and authority and stuff I've developed to just quench magic through brute force. It couldn't happen. And 2 days later, time travel, technological time travel, and like jump room teleportation can't happen anymore physically. And that enabled.
Okay. So you're telling me, okay, so what you're saying is that the jump rooms and the time travel that's been occurring, like say in Secret Space Program, that has been occurring, which seems to have been taking advantage of certain technologies.
Tall whites beaming people up 20 and back and stuff.
Okay, so this is no longer in effect. But let me ask you this. When we talk about time travel, or, you know, space travel, or whatever you want to call it, from a standpoint where there is no technology, the only technology is us. Is that occurring? Is that occurring still, or is that occurring at all, or can it?
Okay, there's the ALI-RM, like people who materialize stuff. Like, do you know about that lore? Like the materialization, one of the key component to learn it is to see it, like what you said to Gavin, your guest, like I hope to see you walk on water so I can do the same. That you have to believe it. So I try to just probe the coherence field for who can teleport. There were only 7 humans who have teleported. The second one was a fluke, but inner technology teleportation, there were only 7 people who ever did it. One of them was mentioned by Randy Mahatma Brown in the Soulogy community. He mentioned a guy, Dr. Mac. I think.
Okay.
That guy is the 6th one who ever teleported. There's one mentioned in the teachings, lives and teachings of the masters of the Far East. That's the 4th one. You can build that whole lineage of who learned from who to teleport.
Wow. This is really interesting. What, I mean, I don't know, I have 100 questions here because I have all this stuff going on in my head. So let me ask you this. I saw a friend of mine on here whose partner for a long time transitioned a few months ago. And I know this person, she's very powerful. She's very connected. I have a lot of respect for her. She's been on the show. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to embarrass anybody. And I saw some pictures today. I saw some pictures of her and her partner who had transitioned, and they were just breathtaking. They were mind blowing. There was so much code in them that I didn't think I was going to be able to do these shows today. But my question revolves around these types of connections. I've had a lot of people come on. Some people talk about that their divine consort is on the other side of the veil, or on a spaceship, or in another dimension or timeline, or whatever. There's a lot of different variations, and I'm just wondering, from your perspective, in regard to people like my friend and her transition partner, how strong is that connection when one is not in the physicality and the other is? And is it going to become a more part of our realm, where those that have transitioned from the body are more part of our experience. Is that going to happen?
I don't know much. We're here to learn about love. I mean, the real love, like seeing something beautiful and feeling it in the art. So I don't know all the secrets about love. But I recall one of the shows you did with the woman with his twin flame partner or something like that. The guy had a stroke and he couldn't talk, but she felt it like across distances. Like
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
that's what you talk about, like those kind of links.
Yeah.
Like my divine partner, she has the soul of Merlin. She had the soul of Merlin, and I have the soul of Morgana. It's really crazy, and that love like span eons of time, like many lifetimes in between.
Yeah.
So it's a love story between souls.
Yeah, yeah.
I
mean,
consciousness.
It's so funny because these things, everything seems to happen. You know, we talk about these loops. Like if you don't heal yourself or you don't do the shadow work, the loop comes back and it comes back. Mm-hmm. But there's another thing that I've noticed. Well, in regard to this subject, like with Morgan, like I saw her 5 nights ago, like I'd never seen her before. But there's always been these steps, like these loops come around, and there's more awareness and more memory. And mm-hmm. But the other night, I literally looked at her and I said, "It's you." Like, it's you, you know? So what I'm trying to say is that there was the higher level of awareness, but I think it seems like it's in all aspects of what we're experiencing. You know, I built a fire last night and it was, I don't know why, it was just like I've never done it before. It was amazing. So what's happening now? I mean, is anything happening? Are we just here to experience? I mean, do we have to go do anything? Where are we at now? You say that we've hit a certain point. What do you think?
Okay.
Where do you think we're headed?
How that happened, all that stuff, how I was able to do all this, it was through what I call the omniverse light body. It was basically a cheating light body, but I developed it organically. Like I wanted to be able to douse at 100 kilometers per hour. So I would ask the highway, the guardian of the highway, hey, how come I can talk to you? So I developed all those skills, and they kind of, it was like an alchemy, building it up, and then it came into reality. And what happened with all that work up to January is that the planet is enlightened. She's enlightened, like the 112th planet. There are human beings that have achieved 9 density of consciousness. So if they have a third novel energetic field, and there are 222 millions of those couples, those have the 16th density of consciousness now, and they can go higher. That's the new name of the game. And what happens is that all those peoples, and there are singles too that are service to all. That I'm telling you what's happening right now. Like when you achieve the service to all status, you get a divine healing. Like my friend called it the Iron Man healing. Like you can't die from puncture wounds. You can't die from vehicular accidents. Once you're service to all, meaning you serve yourself in the most greedy way by serving the all.
Yeah.
Like you're part of the outside too. So once you reach that status, you start to get next level, and then you go into couple. Then it all unlocks because Gaia was taught how to unlock it into people like automatically. Like it's getting crazy. We got engineering and spirituality.
No, I'm with you.
We're getting somewhere.
I'm thinking about the last week or so. And I'm thinking about it was presented in a different. The words were different, but it was the same thing a friend was saying, because I was shown how, as the light body, what I saw as the light body, as it merged with the physical body, there was no possibility of disease. There was no, I mean, like I watched it all change. You know, I saw it, and I guess if one or two people like us were experiencing this, you know, because there's got to be more and more people experiencing this. Maybe it looks differently, but I mean, is this happening all over the place?
You can know by yourself. You can just look, let's say, a footage from a guy sitting on a bus and there's a car hitting him. And then you can test, was that guy protected by the Iron Man healing? And you'll get a yes. He stands up and walks. Like once you can develop your own inner, not guidance, but how do you call it? The knowing truth, the discernment. Once you can build your own discernment and you can build up your consciousness, and it's like once you reach a critical mass of consciousness, that's when things start to really crank up. So that's where we're headed. I mean, if it can be confirmed, that'd be great. Maybe I'm just a mad.
What? No,
maybe I'm just mad, but I don't think so.
You know, we're all mad. I mean, you know, look, we're all putting the pieces together. Nobody's got every single answer. I mean, my question to someone like you is, since this happened to you 2 years ago, were you scared the first time you started telling people this stuff or started writing it down and sharing it on comments? Did you have any reservations at all, or did you just
say I went full blast?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's why it flashed so much.
Well, yeah, I know. I've gotten a couple of notes about you, and I don't ever answer them. But one thing that I noticed about you from the very first is that you were humble. You were humble about it, and also you laughed. And anyone that laughs, you know, at things or laughs at themselves, I think is a lot more credible than those that don't. Did we lose you? Oh, we lost him. He'll come back on in a second. There you go. You're back. You just disappeared. You turned into a dragon. I'm kidding.
But actually, me and my divine union partner were the only beings who can wield totality energy. We can patch all that is from within. We did it 100 times. We have each a very unique chromosome. We have, last time I dosed, 4,096 strands and 2,048 helices in our DNA. I mean, it's crazy. And we have 2 ultra dragons. They're like thousands of dimensions wide. They can't live in a universe. They're stuck in between the 20 universes. And then I created the spectral dragon inside the Philosopher's Stone. Like, it's a very special new life form. It helped me. It's crazy about dragons. It's crazy. And it's doubtable stuff. I mean, people have worked with the super dragons. They're 7 dimensions wide, and there are only 4 of them. What can I say about dragons? Like,
so what do you see your mission being from this point forward? Is it to continue or to expand this union that you're in? Is that the main focus of what you're doing now?
I try to build capabilities and authority and just push the humans forward. Like, it's a.
Do you think that more people like the Crystal Pardos and yourself and people that are stepping out in that way, do you think they're going to be more and more accepted as the days go by, or will they still be kind of, you know?
There are many words, but there's only one truth.
Yeah.
There's one truth. Let's say there's only the present, and many past can yield the same present, and there are many futures going from the same present, but it's a working hypothesis. We have the same Akash. And there was a very strong corrections lately, like the 20th correction, the 19th correction. the last one was like 11 million years ago, and there was one like it's a omniverse-wide Mandela effect. It's crazy. Like I wrote some stuff and it disappeared, and people thought, even Morgan, I sent her a little note and she didn't catch that. I spoke about it with my friends. It was going through the Pleiadian ships. I spoke about him on Telegram application. It went crazy stuff. But where we're headed, it's like you said, the human is the hero. We're going straight on into universal healers. I mean, when you can see the lifetime and everything that happened inside reality, you can, through canonical logic, like there's only one logic, then you can build the best theoretical possible theory of healing or whatever, and then you can run with it. We're headed there, humanity. We're the crown pinnacle of creation, actually.
I'm with you.
No other species achieved what we did. No other.
I'm with you.
And we're headed toward, like Guy Needler said, we'll just own that game and go home.
I wonder where we go. Not that it matters. I don't think I want to leave, though. Maybe that's why we haven't left, because nobody wants to leave. Yeah, this thing about the Mandela effect, I don't experience it like some people talk about, but it's not. I don't know if I call it a Mandela effect. I had it today again. I had it 3 or 4 days ago on the show. Today I've had it. Today I've had it on the previous show, on this show. It's kind of running together. I don't know how I'm going to do the next show. I might have to talk to Morgan seriously if I can't pull myself together. But what it is, it's like I wrote it down. It's like a marker. Like I put a marker down to remember this moment. It happened to me 10 days ago with Morgan, the biggest activation I've ever gotten. And it happened to me. I was going to say it happened to me on the last show, but it's actually happened to me for the day. Like it's the whole day. Like it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. It came to me almost like a deja vu that hasn't stopped. It's been going on for 2 hours now. And what is that?
About the Mandela effect, my biggest Mandela effect ever happened in Houston, Texas. I went there to go to NASA because I was learning to be a laboratory technician. And we were going there on a trip, and we went to Galveston Island. You know that island?
Yeah, I've been there.
On the pier at the end, there was a ferry wheel, and there was nothing. Nothing, like water, nothing. And then when I look at the map and the reality we're in, the Pelican Island with a university, a college, I mean, an airway. And I found one other girl on the net. She was like, hey, I have my family pictures album, and there was no island there. No, like there was not there. That's my biggest Mandela effect ever.
Wow.
Like Looney Tunes and stuff like that. And the interview with the vampire. I remember clearly having seen that movie so many times. It's interview with a vampire and not with the vampire.
This
interviews like this. They recall.
Is it?
The Anne Rice movie.
Yeah, no,
it's
I remember.
Interview with a vampire with Brad Pitt and.
Yeah, it's Interview with a Vampire.
But it's the vampire. On the cassettes and stuff, like in physical, it's the vampire.
I would say vampire because I read the books back when she wrote them, and I watched the movies. Wow, I didn't see that one. I can remember, but to me, I think to me what I'm talking about is these. I don't know what you call them. It's just
the deja vu experience.
Well, it's not even a deja. It's not even a deja vu. It feels like a memory. It is where I said, okay, when I get to this point, I'm going to put a marker here so that I'm telling myself, that, hey, you got it. Like you're there, you're on it. It's like my own personal synchronicity. I don't know, but I do. But it's happened to me twice in the last week, and it's happening today. And I wonder, is it going to just stay like this? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's like an
exciting research subject.
Yeah. So, and you, so I mean, you are very supportive and very active in the community. You're extremely active. You're always there. This is your work, isn't it?
I,
To
I
this
dedicate
information out.
myself to this task. I mean, I was homeless this summer, like in July, like with my picture. It was
You
great. I
were,
mean, I was in Longueuil, Quebec, in
yeah.
the Michel Chartrand Park, the park there. There was families and animals.
I just got
Powerful.
a big picture of that. Yeah, yeah, that is fun. Yeah. What the hell's going on?
Can you imagine a big pillar of light? Like,
I can feel. I'm feeling it. It's coming through my root and sacral into my solar.
I
And
achieved
that,
earlier today passage of divine energy from the crown up here, like
yeah,
divine invisible energy coming uh, in the throat, one step down in the third center, one step down in the root. Like we were up to third. And then I was like, oh, okay. So I'll ask creator about, let's say I try to build a technique using the me upstairs. I build the technique and then it condenses in my end. And then I'm like, okay, I got, let's say, the best technique possible, ever possible. And then I submit it to creator. And then he coheres it, quantum coheres with it. And if it's improvable, it's automatically improved. But I developed the capability to read that delta, to read that difference, so I can build it myself, so it's legal. So I build it myself. Can I do that? He says, yes, no problem. And then the e-link went down. We conceived the DNA and all that jazz. And then it happened. Like on my streak of novelty, only two people ever got there first. One is Morgan in October, like was improving realization and improving the philosophical stone. And then I told her, and then we had a big surge in the Schumann, and she paved the way. And the other time, it was a Chinese woman who could mix divine energy, like administrative energy, admin energy, game master energy from the seventh density inside chi, which is will, love, and mana. Like the etheric fluid mana, you bring in love and will, and it's chi. And then mixing a fourth type of energy, the divine energy, it happened in November. Like, like we have better chi than ever before. Like
man, the
all
sacred.
those are sexuality is
Yeah,
another,
the sacred sexuality is like through the roof,
but we
man.
can't feel sexual energy. We feel the chi because we're alive, but in my own experience I can't feel sexual energy. I can't put my mindset into it. People put their mindset into sexual things to
Oh,
achieve
you mean
telekinesis and stuff and do reiki and do that
but you
kind of
mean like
stuff.
okay, you're okay. So you mean like I don't know. When I say I don't know what word we can use for sacred sexuality because just the fact that you have the word the etymology, sex in there, it gives it it's hard to understand it. But
Mhm.
you're saying that because that to me that's how it feels. Not just when I'm with Morgan, but there. Yes, I can feel the chi in my body like I've
Mhm.
never felt it before. I can send it places much faster within my
Through
body.
your will. Mhm.
Yeah, much faster than I used to. Like they're boom like that.
Mhm.
I'm going to work on myself here when I get off this show on my neck because I slept funny on my neck 2 nights ago, and see
There's a
how.
trick for the neck. You can just put your tongue on the top of the palate and push air, and it will reset your posture. Like
Do it
you
again.
just say the word hut,
Cut like a foot, like a
and with
quarterback.
clamp, and it will put. You can look sideways, and your neck will be straight. And then you relax into it, micro feel into it, and you'll know that there's no hardness anymore.
So, God, I'm getting downloaded. Hurts. It's making my head hurt. I had the
Because
craziest. I had the craziest
that's
thing.
part of my quest for the cheat light body, because before spiritual work you need imply that you had, let's say, perfect posture, perfect activation in your body. And when I achieved the omniverse light body, it was toggle actions, like I could get infinite amount of will, infinite invariance in positions and posture, so I could be like laid back and yield very powerful activation. Like people in the school I was at initiated, we did a small take 2 in October, and I was there. I did work in nature. I unlocked every level at school. Yannick, you can go see the levels. And I came there and I was like outputting level 40 activation. People were wondering, oh, what's that? So it's just like a video game, but you have your body.
Do you ever have an encounter with a non-physical entity? Does that ever happen to you? Like
I got
another
interactions with entities, no?
I don't mean entity. I mean, it could be like a dragon energy. It could be a galactic. It could be an angel.
I got attacked by Dracos. Like it was coming from the higher ups, from the Sikaar Empire and stuff. They just attacked me like nonstop. I was like in the eye of the storm. Like I felt the pressure outside, and they couldn't get in. So I resecured all my primitives, because that's how I work. I just create the healing, get the okay from creator, and then I construct it with very precise primitive operations. There are 22 of them. And then I execute it once I get the correct construction. And I learn from the differences. Like each time, is that a valid construction? Is that a correct construction? And then, so I just went at them, reprogram their DNA forcefully. They can't feed, like Dracos. They don't exist anymore. They're all good. They were like it's crazy out there. We don't have any enemies anymore. I still see stuff in hypnotic regressions, but are they like a week old? And I'm sure we can all heal those impediments.
Like they're like a residual. Like a residual.
Like the leftovers. That's a whole part of healing too. But let's say you get rid of the entity, you get rid of the parasite, and like you patch up.
Like I got a download in this period a few days ago, which I didn't really fully understand, and I don't normally write them down, and I wrote it down again because I don't understand it. But it had something to do with. It feels like what you were talking about in terms of we don't have any enemies anymore. That the energy of that, and what I got was that we had reached a point where the human had gained enough awareness and has been spending enough time back and in the fifth dimension and higher, and that the Draco reptilians did not have that ability. They could not reach into like we can, and that because of that, they no longer can hang around, basically, something like that. Does that make sense?
They don't exist anymore. They were reprogrammed.
Yeah, gotcha.
They were a weapon originally. Their mental was so fast they could know what you thought before you actually thought it.
Yeah,
but I beat them at their own game.
Yeah, their telepathy. Yeah. So, yeah, this is crazy. Great conversation. I don't know why you were hesitant to come on. Your English is fine. You explain things very well. I think we should do it again. Maybe next month or the month after, whatever.
I'll be glad to. I'll try to put material out, like the list of magic words for the human body, for manual activations.
Yeah, there you go. Or we'll just wing it like we always do. I really appreciate. I want to tell you that I really appreciate. I really admire people that follow their guidance and they don't look back. Like you said, I said, were you scared? You said, no, I just jumped into it. And
you were my standard. It was easy. I was tagging along Soulogy Like it was a walk in the park, basically.
Well, I remember when I came out, that's how it was for me. I mean, I got massacred by people. It was just, I think we had like 600 people in Soulogy, and 400 of them left. So it was pretty crazy. But yeah, I really appreciate you saying that about Soulogy and about me, and I really appreciate what you do. But I just want you to know that I really appreciate the fact that you come to work every day, and you're not throwing shit at people. You know, people that write me notes and tell me things about other people makes me wonder about that person, not the people they're telling me about. But anyway, I just want to tell you, I appreciate the fact that you've supported Soulogy. You're part of Soulogy. It's like everybody. I mean, your contribution is invaluable. So I wanted to tell you that, brother. We'll get back together, and
Thank you.
since you're in Canada, maybe we'll see each other sometime.
Sooner than
Yeah. I'll just have to get Merlin's daughter over here to put together a magic carpet and
the four of us together. We did it back in August. It was a novel art of arts of arts. Like it was a very I'll put that on tape. The one that helped us is like the real original angel. I won't say her name, but she's one of the 12 beings that her wings, her spiritual wings, they're split in half. Like one of her wings is back in the other third of our universe. When people say galactic, it's not really our galaxy, it's a third of the universe. We got 3 sections like this to build a universe, and her wing was down there. I leveled up in the light. So in the councils, like we have 3 persons per third. Here on Earth we had 4 of the light. Like me, partner, Morgan, and her. Like it was really powerful. And then matching our, because you're top 2 love story of all time. That's crazy to say, but you two are top 2, and you became top 1 because me and my partner, we were apart, and we dipped underneath 95%, something like that. So you went up, but I did place a healing with your higher self's permission and all that jazz, a specific healing. If you ever reach top 1, something very special would happen, and that thing happened, and we could build 4 of us, Merlin's mother and her, like those 6 people did achieve a very specific alchemy. Like no other race achieved that thing ever. Like it's
that's awesome.
Like a novel art of the 2 top 1 love stories, and there's another top 1 love story. It happened this summer. They were there on top 1 for a couple of hours. They're in South America. I don't know who they are. The man is on Soulogy. He's in the community.
Is he really?
I just have to track him down. It's easy. Let's say you pull. You have to have a canonical way of writing things, like a unique way of writing things, and then you douse. Is it in the first half of the list or the second half of the list? And then you can hone in to the name of the person. You can know.
I might be able to help. Yeah, I might be able to help.
Whose cup is beating his wife? You can know. You can know anything about anybody if you can test it. Like it's crazy. We live in a world where nothing can be hidden anymore. Nothing.
J'adore ce partage.
I'm just reading. Spanish.
It's supposed to be French. Here. J'adore ce partage.
Merci. C'est super.
That's our beautiful sister in Canada. So now that we know you're in Canada, maybe we'll see you in the physical. I love you, brother. Thank you so much. Now I got to go lay down and try to integrate all this stuff for the next show, or Morgan's going to be doing it, or I'm going to be canceling. Pamela Johnson, I love you too.
Love her too. Bye.
And everybody else. I'll see y'all. Thanks.